Chapter 87, Demon Chart Fusion, Reversing Misfortune and Fortune. Senior sister is rescued. Thinking of using the demonic heavenly concealment talisman to hide the heavenly mystery? Vain delusions. High in the void, sword cultivators swarmed like a locust infestation, with Elder Zhang Taixu of the heavenly mystery peak standing aloof in the clouds, astride a twin-horned green bull holding a glowing turtle shell compass. This turtle shell was very special, with its natural patterns forming the 9 palaces 8 trigrams, exquisite and mysterious. Yet 3 cracks added a touch of flaw to the compass. His mighty magic power flowed from his fingertips into the turtle shell, and the extracted aura pointed straight to the ground. Zhang Taixu lit up 3 sticks of sandalwood incense and placed them atop the turtle shell. The burning white smoke moved without wind, floating specifically towards a tall young man. Following that, the turtle shell gently trembled, adding another crack on its back. The originally calm elder's eyes showed a trace of surprise before squinting. The catastrophe lies in the second hexagram, the Can hexagram, a great disaster. Let's go. Elder Zhang patted the green bull beneath him. In the blink of an eye, he transformed into a streak of green light, darting off towards the direction of the white smoke. Meanwhile, on the ground, a large number of demon cultivators, monsters, and fierce ghosts were massacred by the disciples of the Dragon Sparrow sect. Boy, it's time for you to die. The elderly Taoist in a black robe saw his demonic disciples falling one by one through the curtain of his sedan chair. He immediately discarded his genteel facade, furious and ashamed, transforming into a cloud of black mist to pounce upon Han Yi. Whistle! Whistle! Tenant sect disciples arrived and formed a sword formation. They intended to trap the elderly Taoist within. The dazzling sword light on the ground was incredibly piercing. But the Taoist just snorted dismissively, gently waving his dust brush, chanting a magic spell. As he spread out his 5 fingers, a blood-red eye appeared in his palm. More than 10 streaks of blood-colored light drilled out from the eye, instantly shattering the sword formation. Stop your insolence! A true disciple dressed in a white robe arrived, offering a jade cauldron the size of a palm. Its surface was brilliantly radiant, pressing down towards the elderly Taoist. Swoosh! Countless white tentacles attacked from afar, piercing through the radiant light, and directly wrapped him up. Despite his power, he was immobilized for a while. Looking at its source, it turned out the tentacles were transformed from the dust brush in the hands of the elderly Taoist. They were extremely tough, impervious to both water and fire. Having dealt with the obstructions around him, he stretched out his thin, old hand, and a ripple appeared in space. As Han Yi ran, dodging the pursuing corpses, he exerted the soul-devouring nail, nailing a nearby demon cultivator to the ground. The spiritual key fluctuation suddenly rushed over, and its oppressive force arrived instantly. While he ran without looking back, he offered the soul-suppressing banner and anxious solicitude. King Li, wake up! Young master, why are you being chased by corpses? Tushin Kingli, who had been sleeping for a long time, slowly woke up. Realizing Han Ye's situation, she was greatly shocked. Can you beat the old man behind us? As Tushin Kingli's green smoke arrived on Han Ye's shoulder, she glanced behind and shuddered. I don't think I can. I only have 300 years of cultivation, corresponding to your human race's golden core cultivator. This old Taoist's cultivation is even above golden core. Be careful. Tu shankingly noticed that the elderly Taoist in the black robe had released more than 10 streaks of blood-colored light. Coming to capture Han Yi immediately, she turned into her true form, a white fox, baring her teeth and pounced over with 3 foxtails, smashing several bloodlights. Get lost! The elderly Taoist had little patience. With a firm press of his hand, the white fox in front of him was smashed into the ground, not even giving her a second glance. He rapidly approached Han Yi, releasing his oppressive might, pinning Han Yi to the ground. He manipulated the void to take the storage ring from Han Yi, kicked him away with 1 foot, and sneered, I, corpse Taoist, am the future supreme of the demonic sect. He could not dwell in this place for too long. Crushing the storage ring in 1 grip, all the items in the ring appeared in mid-air. He planned to leave with the heavenly demon nether dragon scroll, but only found elixirs and spirit stones. What? Elsewhere, Han Yi, who was lying on the ground, felt the dozen or so storage rings in his bosom and felt slightly relieved. It seemed that not putting all his eggs in one basket had been the right move. Boy, I want you deed. Corpsetuus let out a fierce roar, charging towards Han Yi. If you want it so much, I'll give it all to you. Han Yi quickly tossed out all the storage rings he had kept inside his coat. All the storage rings were flung out, and Corpse Taoist ignored Han Yi, watching these rings instead. He raised his hand and clenched it in the void. All these storage rings burst open, things scattering all over. Corpse Taoist finally fixed his gaze on an ink painting scroll. Demon chart. He seized the heavenly demon nether dragon scroll, infused it with the demon key, examined its authenticity. The scroll immediately trembled, but even he could not unfold the scroll. Swoosh! In an instant, the essence, blood key, and souls of all the corpses of the demon cultivators around them floated up, transforming into strands of air and being sucked into the nether dragon scroll. The heavenly demon nether dragon scroll seemed to have been activated. The scroll finally opened, revealing a corner. A huge dragon eye suddenly appeared on the scroll. The red, vertical pupil emitted a horrifyingly savage aura. Roar! A dragon roar sounded, sending out ear-piercing, eardrum-popping sound waves. The terrifying power of the demon chart gathered into a blood-red tower of light, blasting directly towards Zuan Chong. So that's how it is. Han Yi looked thoughtfully at the activated heavenly demon nether dragon scroll. B. Whoosh! Just then, a green light descended from above, severing the blood-colored beam at its midsection, causing the Corpse Taoist to fly back, his demon chart thrown away as well. Yet the demon chart moved as if alive and continued to flow around, seeking its host. It swept through an entire street, reducing all bodies to dried husks, leaving only Han Yi alive. Consequently, the demon chart made for Han Yi. Damn! Seeing this, Han Yi's pupils abruptly constricted, and he turned and fled. This thing was too strange. He did not want to be contaminated by it. However, the demon chart quickly caught up to him. The scroll coalesced into a phantom image of a giant black dragon and swiftly burrowed into Han Yi's body, and vanishing in a blink of an eye. Han Yi felt his own chest patting left and right, but he could not find where the demon chart had disappeared to, and wondered if it had merged with his flesh and body. Swoosh! At this moment, a huge golden 8 trigram figure appeared on the ground, the yin-yang pattern in its center slowly spinning and quickly spreading out, entirely covering Hangzhou Prefecture, preventing all the demon cultivators in the city from escaping. Your corpse sect has indeed worked hard at staying hidden, came a voice without a person being seen. Han Yi looked up and saw an elder man with graying hair astride a green bull descend from the sky. It was the Grand Elder Zhang Taixu. The hitherto arrogant Corpse Taoist now leaned against a wall, hemming out a mouthful of turbid blood, while laughing crazily. The birth of the demon chart heralds a great calamity. Your Dragon Sparrow sect is doomed. Zhang Taixu stood up from the green bull and casually replied, "Fortune and misfortune are interdependent. Misfortune brings fortune and fortune brings misfortune. There's no certain defeat." After the word, he calculated and looked at Han Yi's direction. With the help of the technique of observing Qi, he saw the dazzling golden cloud of Qi rising on Han Yi's face. Blessed by the heavenly mystery, blessed by fortune, could this person really be the trouble solver? In truth, after a year of evaluation, he was more willing to believe that Chu Shanyu was the real trouble solver. Whether it was her performance or her strength, she was the most suitable. But each of Han Yi's unexpected interventions greatly affected his judgment. Die! The Corpse Taoist roared angrily, bursting his Qi Si in an attempt to destroy the city. However, Elder Zhang was quite calm. With a flick of his hands, he projected a spiritual light onto the Corpse Taoist, turning it into a magic seal. Sealed! The Corpse Taoist stiffened completely, no longer making any sound, as though his soul had fled. Splash! In Han Yi's view, a brilliant and intimidating orange-colored attribute fell from Elder Zhang's body. Found attribute, reversing misfortune and fortune. Reversing misfortune and fortune orange. Misfortune leans on fortune and fortune hides behind misfortune. Once a day, the effects of misfortune or fortune around can be transferred. They take responsibility for their cause and effect. After seeing this attribute, Han Ye's eyes blazed with admiration. Such a fierce attribute. Turn misfortune into blessing? Turn blessing into misfortune? The misfortune and blessing of people around him are all under his control. Han didn't stop thinking about the heavenly slaughter Lone Star attribute on himself. If he could control misfortune and fortune, he wouldn't need to worry about the people around him suffering misfortune because he could transfer it into a blessing. Disciple has seen Grand Elder. He slowly stepped forward, offering a bow to Elder John, and discreetly collected the attribute. Attribute collected, reversing misfortune and fortune won. Zhang takes his compass in his hand had finished burning the incense. He looked at Han Yi and smiled lightly. The heavenly demon nether dragon scroll should be on you, right? It seems like a painting, Elder. I don't know why, but it directly burrowed into my body. Please enlighten me. Han Yi dared not to conceal anything and reported honestly. His facial expression remained unchanged. Zhang Taixu looked at the empty and severely damaged alley. He glanced at the compass in his hand, held calculations in his hand, saw the result, and his voice cheated, "Themeter of the demon chart merging with your flesh. You must not speak of it to anyone, including your relatives, friends, loved ones, siblings, and the master." Did you remember it all? Elder, what about the master? Han Yi couldn't help but ask. The exact same, no exception. Zhang Taixu's gaze was profound. This object is called the Heavenly Demon Nether Dragon Chart. Its origin is not ordinary. For it, the 7 doors of the demonic sects battled until battered and exhausted, not hesitating to scheme against and kill their fellow disciples. In order to investigate this treasure of the demonic sect, many of our Dragon Sparrow sect disciples have died. Your fellow disciple and your master nearly fell into the abyss of demons. If it's exposed, nobody can save you. Yes, Hania was startled and broke out in a cold sweat. How's my senior sister? He couldn't help but ask when he heard about his senior sister. Zhang Taixu replied nonchalantly, Huangquan Valley, as a place where demon cultivators roam, has already been conquered by our sect. You should be able to see her tomorrow. As for today's event, if anyone asks, just say that all is handed over to me for handling. This disciple understands. All right, let's return to the sect. After the elder gave his instructions, Han Yi obediently picked up his profound thunder blade and headed towards the other disciples. After he left, Zhang Taixu looked at Han Ye's retreating figure and murmured to himself, is it really one of those two?